Captain's Log, March 27th, 2026. Hello, I'm Captain Vile. Good on you, you've made it to Friday. I had to have some water and I barely started talking. I should be good. I just had to cough. But I've already done my intro, so it's too late to redo it. Oh dear. I haven't that much to talk about. I've had to pull through my Captain's Logs, topics, doc, and have that up. I have a talking point I've squirreled away. You may be thinking, oh, what have you watched this week, Captain? Well, I said I was going to watch Ice Pilots. And I started that, but the version I found is the audio and video are not synced, and it keeps, like, buffering. So I got 7 minutes into that, and it was almost unwatchable due to the way I was watching it. But the film itself was almost unwatchable anyhow. I will watch it, but as of now, my record of watching it is lower than my father's at 20 minutes, because it was only 7. So rats. But from the bit I saw, it doesn't seem like it'll be that good. But hey, you shouldn't judge a movie by less than 10 minutes. I'm not saying you should judge a movie by 10 minutes, but I mean, who knows? Maybe he hasn't seen the rest of it. Maybe it somehow gets better at the 30-minute mark. But it's definitely a Star Wars ripoff. Except instead of like an empire, I think it's just a corporation or something. I don't know. But they had the goddamn, like, they didn't have the text scrolling, but they had the text pop up on screen, fade in, fade out, and some guy read it. But it's definitely trying to convey, this is Star Wars. Anywho. So I haven't had... And also, I haven't had time to watch much else, because I've been busy animating. I don't like to watch movies whilst I animate. I want to pay attention to the movie. I'll listen to, like, video essays while I animate, because you can, like, do that without visuals. I mean, sometimes visuals will help, but, I mean, I can just look over. Whatever. Sorry I've not had time to watch very much. I've been working on stuff. But before I want... No, I'll get into the talking point. So this was... I've had this talking point scrolled away for a while. I just forgot to mention it the week I wrote it down. And I was tempted to say it not yesterday, last show. But didn't really have a good point. So didn't have a good transition. So I'll do it this time. So... a while ago, I went to the British Museum with my mother whilst visiting. She was in London, and I'm just a train ride away from London. That'll segue into another... I do have some talking points. That'll segue into another thing. But anyway, we were at the British Museum. And we saw some nice exhibits, I explained this. And we went into the reading room. And I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's a lot easier to get. But as we were in the reading room, my mother wanted to talk to someone because she's a student. And earlier, whilst checking her coat, she found out there was like a library in the museum that is tied to the university she goes to. So she can actually, like, use the resources at the British History Museum for her studies. And while we were in the reading room, she wanted to get a further explanation of this by one of the employees, so I was just left standing, looking at the walls lined with books. And it wasn't like another kind of library I've been to. It's not like most libraries I've been to. It's not a big, like, room with several bookshelves, like, lining the floor. So it's almost like a maze. Although I do enjoy those. I think I've mentioned the... No, I didn't mention, like, the time I went to, like, a hole-in-the-wall bookstore that had, like, a small entrance, and then you go upstairs, and it's, like, 3 times the size, maybe 4 times the size. It's huge. And it really did feel like a maze. Trying to find any amount of Garfield books. And there was only one Garfield comic. It wasn't even a comic, it was a book of postcards. And I asked the guy... I'm jumping ahead in my thoughts. I kept doing that last show, I'm really doing it now. I go in, I ask the guy, do you have anything relating to Garfield? I did say that, anything relating to Garfield. He said, I think we have... Yeah, a Garfield book up top. And I go up there, I search for like 27 minutes, and I find this thing. So, quite a good memory on that guy. That was the only Garfield-relating item, and he said we had one thing, and that was it. But I guess he's to my knowledge, he was the only employee. It was his bookstore. So I guess he just vaguely knew every book that was in there. Again, vaguely. He probably had it written down somewhere. But that was just off the top of his head. Like, yeah, I think we have one. Anyway, that was not what this was. This was a huge, wide open area with nothing on the floor. But it was like a dome. And you could not access the books. My mother was annoyed to learn that. But there were like thousands, just to hazard a guess, maybe a few 100,000 books just lining the walls of this giant dome. And a thought occurred to me that in retrospect is obvious, but it's like, someone wrote that. Someone has dedicated years of their life to writing that book. And it's now just placed in the wall. And that person is probably dead now. And there were hundreds of thousands of them. Like, a city's worth of lives or a portion of their lives, is contained within this room. And it's so strange to be able to witness it. And what's even stranger is I had this realization in the museum, where you're, like, looking at, like, civilizations' lives. I don't know how nothing else... I said earlier, maybe it's just because it's, like, it's easier to see the scale of it now than in one little exhibit that's meant to get everything. Whereas this, it's casting, like, a wide net. Because I didn't know who wrote any of these books. I didn't know what any of them were. I was just looking at the covers that were, like, 50 meters away from me. And they were, like, high up. But it's each one of those thousands of books was written by someone over the course of thousands of hours, days and months. Maybe not months, but... And it's just there, among thousands of others. So that did a better job of conveying, I guess, human effort than the exhibits. But it still got through, and that was something I found rather interesting. A decently poignant moment that was then... I wouldn't say interrupted, but like my mother came over and was like, alright, they're not going to let me read anything, let's go. And then we went to the gift shop, and I got my cool snow globe. But that reminds me, that does not remind me, that is simply, that is tangentially related to me writing stuff down. So if you do not know, and again, this is also, I'm going out on a huge limb. If I were a lawyer presenting this to a judge, they would ask me to be going somewhere with this, and I am. Don't worry, it'll wrap back up, it'll wrap around soon. I'm a fan of Five Nights at Freddy's, which has some extensive lore, to the point where the creator, Scott Coffin, has confirmed that they have a text document that contains the entire story, and barely anyone has gotten any close to what it is at all. Granted, that's kind of his fault. He's not the greatest at writing stories, but that's a whole other can of worms that we can get into on another day. Right now, I'm focusing on the fact that he's got a text document that explains his story and all the lore. Because I'm writing a text document explains the story and all the lore. I'm doing it in Microsoft Word. I think I'll check just now. Hang on. It's opening up. There it is. D&K Complete Lore. Yes. And 10 paragraphs. Broken up so it's easy to read. 10 paragraphs in to it, and I think I have written it with someone reading it in mind, so it's got some metaphors and figurative language. Metaphors and figurative language. Oh yeah, it's got some rain and water. Anyway. But it's quite fun to write out. It definitely helps with planning other events. Because there is some lore to Diamond Eye and Kev. It's not really a mystery show, but it's a show that has mysteries, I guess. The point isn't explaining all the stuff that's happening. The point is following along the two idiots it happens to. But there's a lot going on in the background, and if you want to pay attention, I'll hint to it. I was just going to read out the first paragraph, but I'm realizing that itself answers a rather big question. It's such a simple one, too. It's not even a paragraph, it's one sentence. It's just like a bit of a long sentence, but it answers so much about one character, to the point where I actually can't read it out. But if I were to, for some reason, carry this document on a USB, and then someone stole that USB, and they, like, put it into their computer and read it, they would have... The first sentence, so much would be answered. So I guess that's good that it's concise. If I ever do be like, alright, enough time has passed, I think I'll release the document now. You can see what's going on behind the hood of the story. It's good that it'll answer a lot. I'm not even finished writing it, too. I think I'm not gonna answer that. Nope. I've been advised against that. You'll just have to wait and see over the years, and then you'll get the story. Anyhow. So as I said, living near London. Now, what's funny about living near London, Captain? Why, the drug trade, of course. If you live near London, then that means that there's a lot of drug dealers from London now in your town. Which means that if you walk home late at night, after a long shift, you might encounter a drug addict freaking out in the street, and you just walk by, because, oh well, living in a city's fun, huh? But that's what happened yesterday. Some guy, as I got off the bus and was beginning walking home, I looked to my left, and some guy standing in the middle of the road, because I did notice the bus kind of took like a weird turn, and it was clear he was avoiding not hitting him. He was just standing in the middle of the road in a fedora, a white t-shirt, a blue, I would call it a cardigan, blue plaid shorts, no socks, and I think loafers? I mean, I didn't even look at his shoes. And I think he was wearing some glasses or sunglasses. But he was just stumbling around in the street, almost about to fall over, and they'd, like, lean... It looked like he was on a boat that was rocking. He would, like, lean one way, and then overcorrect to lean the other, and then have to overcorrect over and over again. And, like, go purposely walking into the way of, like... It's in, like, a city. It's not, like, the cars are zooming by. But he was trying to, like, block traffic. And was yelling to some other person. And I didn't make out anything he said, except when he, like, finally stopped walking and just stood on the street corner and turned to like a large group of people and yelled, "I'm gonna smoke crack in front of you." As if he's like threatening to do so. And then as I continued on my walk, I saw like a cop car going his general direction. So that was funny. Like a story in two parts, I guess. They could even like have not been called for the sirens weren't going. I didn't see the look on the cop's face in the car. But it's funny to imagine that they are going to investigate the drunken disorderly on the bus stop. But yeah, no, 15 minutes now. As I said, I don't have that much. I'll have to improv something. I don't know if I'll do a story as I did last time. It's not National Story Day. I don't think it's anything day, actually. Let's see. Nothing on the calendar. No. Tomorrow, it's Earth Hour. Apparently. Join the global blackout. No. Then it's April Fool's. Right, Easter Sunday. I forgot about that. We're gonna do anything for... I got some plans for April Fool's. I guess we'll see that next week. Easter? No. I always got that confused. Not Easter weekend, not Easter Sunday. I didn't get Easter confused with Groundhog Day. But I think this is in March. I think that's when the Super Bowl is, right? March now, not April. But I always got Easter weekend and Groundhog weekend mixed up. Because, I don't know. I remember one time thinking the Super Bowl was happening. I don't even care about the Super Bowl. But it's just that it, like, happens during Groundhog Day, right? I don't know. And I remember just getting them mixed up. And it didn't really matter, but I just remember getting them mixed up for some reason. That sticks in my brain whenever I think about either holiday. Because they're just kind of connected with that one weird event now. Anywho. No, I keep on to talk about the goddamn... It's just this... It's the desire to show off what you've made. And mainly because I've done the Tamagotchi life thing. That's gone up now. If you're watching this or listening to this, you have the ability to go listen or watch that. Where it's Diamond and Kever are there. But I don't do much with my channel characters outside of their channel thing. I mean, occasionally they'll have like cameos in episodes. Like there was one Dark Souls 2 episode where there was a tiny enemy, and I like made it though that it's Diamond Eye because he's short. But I think the desire, and again, like I wrote the document with someone else reading it in mind, so there's like it's interesting to read, or at least I would like to think it is. But just this, I don't know, I desire to show things off, and I want to show off the document because I put effort in writing it. I want to show off these characters because I put effort in making them. But I don't just want to just do nonsense with them. I think I would always want what they appear in to be of some quality. I want some kind of quality control. I not just want to constantly make, oh, it's Diamond Eye and Kevin, or oh, it's Upname, or oh, it's the Golden God. But there's a temptation to do that because I enjoy these characters, and it's easy to just make, like, it would be easy to just make like a simple comic about them like interacting, like Dee and Kev trying to rob the Golden God, and then he picks them up and throws them through a wall or something. But I've got all these, no, that wouldn't happen. They're in different universes or something, I don't know. But there's just a want to do that. But there is no need to do that, so I will not do that. Apologies for that. Now I'm just thinking of something else. One annoying thing of coming from daylight savings, I do believe that the daylight savings that has just come and gone is the last one, which means that the new this effect on the upload schedule, if that you can even call it that, is now permanent. And it's not even that big of an effect, but it is that instead of my videos going up at 10 p.m., they go up at 9 p.m., which is annoying because it's now it's 3 p.m. is 9 p.m. Or it was 3 p.m. is 9 p.m. Now it's 4 p.m. is 9 p.m. So, it won't change back. But even then, that's pretty generous, because the first, like, few weeks when I first moved to England, and it was like, oh, the videos are going up at, like, 10 p.m. my time. Well, that was an oversight. But gradually, it's just become something that I enjoy taking advantage of, so I have more time to work on videos. Because I'll often, like, record, like these, I record it at, like, late at night, because it'll allow stuff to happen during, like, if it's been somewhat of an uneventful week, similar to this, because I've just been focusing on my animation, then maybe something will happen the Friday of the captain's log. But now there's an hour less of stuff to happen! Because they go up sooner! But oh well, I suppose I'll just deal with that. I'm dealing with a damn pain in my arm. I cut my arm earlier. Just a simple, like a, well, cut. Nothing insane. Nothing. I don't know why I hate, like, Band-Aids and plasters. I think it's just the texture. But I just never use them. But I wouldn't, if you were not me and you did use them, then this wouldn't be anything you'd require one for. But it's on, like, my elbow, like the outside of it, so I, like, move my arm, and it doesn't hurt, but I'm just aware of the fact that, like, I don't know, I have a cut there, and it's meh. Oh well, it'll heal up in a bit, and then I won't have to deal with that. Oh well, maybe I gotta write more. I think that's certainly a thing, because I've been writing various short stories, and I just touch up on them. I gotta pick, another thing is I gotta finish the novelization of Man Who Played Gold. But I do this with animations. I've had, like, oh, I'll work on all these projects, and it's like, I've realized, no, Einstein, get it together, just pick one, and then make that one. So we're picking Diamond Eye and Kevin's trip to New Vegas. And that's all the animation that's being made. But I don't do that with my writing. And I mean, I just hit the mic. And I mean, like, actual, like, literary writing. Not writing Diamond Eye and Kev, I just did that. But no, like, short stories, things of that nature. I really gotta do more of those. I did a bunch of them in high school, and just never... Well, actually, no, I don't think I ever finished. I had a bunch of ideas. I think I've mentioned these before. Various short stories, like the guy that gets turned into cake, the house. I've accidentally just wrote House of Leaves, and it's not as good as House of Leaves. No, it's not as good as House of Leaves. But it's the same story, just like a guy finding out something's up with his house and gradually spiraling from there. However, that's a pretty basic explanation on what House of Leaves is. House of Leaves actually... I keep burping. It's pretty similar to The King in Yellow, because it's... No. Go find out for yourself. No spoilers. However, I think that just spoils... Well, I guess it kind of spoils me, but it mainly spoils House of Leaves. Whatever, go... This is a call to action for the pair of us, viewer and recorder. You ought to read more, and I ought to write more. Anyway. Now, look at that. Look at my impeccable improvisational skills. I hope that next show is not only a bit less jumbled, but a bit longer. Oh, wait, no, what am I... Wait, hang on. Well, don't I have egg on my face? It's the last of the month show. I forgot. I didn't think that there was another week of March, but I did think that it would line up differently. So, my bad. Looks like you're stuck with me for a little longer. This is why you gotta plan things. I should have realized that. Well, Oops. Alright. Well, I am so goddamn tempted to just straight up read like a chapter of the Meg to fill the time. Would that be cheating? I think that's cheating. I can read a Wikipedia article or skim it, but I think that's as much as I can do. I don't know. Oh, no. We can't read a book on the podcast. That's too much. Because if you couldn't glean earlier, I've not been reading the Meg of late. So, we're gonna do some Wikipedia roulette, and hopefully that ought to stem random article. Hang on. What was the website I did last time? Random article generator? Wikipedia random. Here we are. This is... What the hell is it? Okay, here we are. That was a Wikipedia article about Wikipedia Random. That was not Wikipedia Random. Now, we're at Wikipedia Random, and I've just done a random. So, Elsie Rod. See, Louis Charles Rod. A school teacher in the 19th century. Alright. Retirement in the later years. There's not very much here. He's just published some books. This is the second time we've gotten an offer. The first time, we got the guy who wrote Mr. Hyde and Mr. Seek. And now, we've got... Oh, selected works. John Hope of Christ Church, a Sydney Church era biography, and A Gentle Ship autobiography. Sidney Thomas Nelson. We got 2 offers. Cranky. Hang on, we gotta do this where we don't get an offer. Okay. Well, what is this? This is like an event where not very much happens. How does this have an article? What? Okay, this is a person. I swear to God, if this is an actor. This is an actor. Cool. They're not an offer. They did not write anything. This is George Briggers Williams. Filmography: Ultimate Paradise, Build Your Ark, His Majesty's Sergeant. Alright, not very much here. Why are there so few? I don't think we've struck gold, folks. Alright, we're gonna give it one more try. Alright, one more try. And maybe we'll get something good. This is a song. You know what? I like looking at song history. This is I Believe by Marcella Detroit's song. Song by American singer-songwriter Marcella Detroit, released on February 20th, 2094. Huh. Critical reception? I don't care about the reception. What's the story behind the song? This is just how the song did. And then a cover Jonah Zimmer did. This sucks. God damn it. Where's the whimsy? Are you telling me that if I were to pull from the billions of articles in the world, I might get a boring one a couple times in a row? Are you out of your mind? Anywho, so some channel updates, I suppose, since I've got time to fill and you've got something to listen to. I've not been doing that well in regards of making thumbnails, eh? Well, in terms of the thumbnails themselves. Don't knock thumbnails. It's the schedule that's the problem. I've been getting later and later on those. I always tell myself, you know what you should do, Captain? You should take a list of all the games that you are going to play one day, which we have, and then you should draw thumbnails that you can just pull from. But I never do that. I keep telling myself I ought to have some stored away, just like I have games stored away. But I never do it. It always bites me. I always do it the last second, like I do here. I mean, part of that is wanting to... Apologies for the pause, but... I think the thumbnails, like if I go to my DeviantArt and look at my gold in thumbnails. Let's take a look. Alright, let's find here, the altars. I didn't know any, I knew diddly squat about the altars when I played it. I just knew it was about a game about clones. And it's clones of myself killing each other, and one of them's really annoyed. Didn't know anything. Now, Arkham. So Arkham City. I played this game forward, backwards, and sideways. And it's me as Batman prioritizing getting Riddler trophies than saving the world. Because whatever. So I think that there's, to me, maybe it's a case-by-case thing. Because, you know what? The Alters one wasn't bad. The Resident Evil 4 one wasn't bad. The Grime one's okay. But I think that the ones where I know quirks about the game are better than the ones where I go in blind. 'Cause, I don't know. For instance, the new thumbnail I did for Kingdom Hearts 2. Because that one didn't have thumbnails for 2 videos, now it has thumbnails. And it's the box art almost unchanged, except Donald is falling to his death. That one's got a bit of channel history on it, because I hate Donald so much. He's a useless party member, his voice is difficult to do in songs, and he's a fun punching bag. And no one cares about Donald Duck. If I had this hatred aimed at Goofy, people would be like, what do you got against Goofy, Captain? Goofy's fun. People like Goofy. Goofy's got a fun voice. He's got a little noise he makes. People love Goofy. And I do too. He's a fun character. But no one, I even got a new comment from someone who's discovered the channel, said, yeah, kick Donald down the stairs. No one cares about this pond drinker. So he's a free target. But that's what I'm saying. There's a bit of history. There's some experience with the series that had, for whatever reason, Kingdom Hearts been my first game, we wouldn't have. Because the first Kingdom Hearts thumbnail, you go all the way back to that, and my ire is aimed at Goofy. Goofy's got his hand on my shoulder, and I'm annoyed at that fact. When in actuality, I should be, had I played the game a little more and then made the thumbnail for it, I would have been disgusted that Donald was standing so close to me and remained unharmed about that fact. So, maybe it's a double-edged sword, having late thumbnails but better knowledge of the series. Or maybe I just ought to play more games I've played before. Hang on, what games have I played before that I've not played for on the channel? I've got a list of them. On the channel, yeah. King of Cards, Arkham Knight, Elden Ring, Dark Souls 3, Tales of Iron, and I think that's it. Everything else, I don't know anything about. I mean, even Altars, like, not Altars, I just saw an update about that in this Steam page. But even Kingdom Hearts, like, I'm blind to it, but I think that's just maybe the fact that it's a series helps. Yeah. Because I've not played it, but we can bring over from the last two games my hatred of Donald. But with Dark Souls, there's some similar stuff there. We're now reaching 40 minutes. I was looking through previous thumbnails. Is this? I swear this is in thumbnail, isn't it? No, it's not. It's odd. No, it is. It's weird. Why did I think it wasn't? I guess I just didn't see it. Just looking at the Skyrim thumbnail. One of the earlier ones when I swapped out the violin for my own avatar. And there's like a reference to that fact because he's missing. I have not drawn very much other than thumbnails. I'm now looking back at my previous stuff. There's some, like my first work is like fishing trip and then opposing the god. That one's a weird. I don't know why. What's the aspect ratio on this? Right, that's before I did the. That's where I did that's before I did 1900 by 1080. Such a strange. And then this was cropped weirdly because I didn't upload the file. I took a screenshot and uploaded the screenshot. Maybe I should remake some of these. But I've not drawn. I do draw just to draw. But what I draw just to draw is like simple sketches that I wouldn't want to upload because there's nothing to them. They're just there. But maybe I ought to do that more, or maybe I got to go back and finish some of those sketches. As I'm now. Oh no, we're in the. This is how the beginning of the problem of my writing style comes in. Right, so maybe I ought to go back to some of those unfinished drawings and touch them up. I ought to go back to some of those unfinished ones instead of picking one and then just going for it. All right. 40. I think we may have to end it at 45 minutes. This is. I do apologize. I think it's mainly just because I didn't prepare for it being the end of the month show. Let me look through. What was the first? I think the first end of the month show was like 53 minutes. Pissing out, yeah, longer. And then I don't think there's been a 41. We got a lot. I think I got an hour. Yeah, hour 13 minutes being moved by Castle. And then almost on the dot was busy schoolwork. So I do apologize for the apologies for the brevity of this one. Yeah, 40 minutes. Trying out shorter shows, you know. But here, I'll take the... I think I'll mention this... I'll go deeper into this on the monthly update about the bets, because we've only done one bet, so I got plenty of time in the episode itself to talk about my thoughts on the bet, huh? We're coming up to a year of me being indebted to you guys. I do have something planned for that, don't you worry. But I mean, I poke fun at it, but I enjoy this, the kind of... I wouldn't describe it as this, like, antagonistic relationship between, like, creator and audience. But there is some like, snark every now and then, especially relating to the bets. But it's fun to have that. It's fun to... I had it with my brother. My mother would always be worried that we hated each other, but in reality, it's just... we would always fight somehow. Like, I think most of our time talking to one another in, like, the years I've known him since moving out. That doesn't make much sense. Hang on. Just knowing him, not even, like, I don't necessarily include that. The most we've talked is bickering. But it's never... there's never malice in either of our comments. I mean, certainly we've had, like, fights that have... I don't think we've ever had bickering that has turned into a fight, but we have had, like, fights. But that's somewhat what, like, this is. I think I'm just someone who enjoys being snide and having, like, a back and forth with someone. Because that's somewhat what this is. You'll, like, oh, I bet you can't do this, Captain. And then during that, I'll like, oh, yeah, gee, thanks, guys. Yeah, loving doing this. None of you wanted to make a bet where I go have a cup of tea or something. And then the one time someone did that, one time Honeybun has said, oh, Captain, you should make a bet where you just make a cake. I can't do that. I don't have the means to make a cake. I don't have the cake trays. I don't want to go, like, I don't have anywhere to put it. I'd have to, like, have the whole cake over the course of, like, a few hours in one day. Because I don't have a spot for it in the fridge. So it's not feasible. The one goddamn pleasant bet I literally cannot do. So I've not taken it. That's not saying that I lost the bet, that's saying that I have not accepted the bet. And that, of course, there is maybe like, well, Captain, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Well, okay, Einstein. No, you don't, because the bullet never left the chamber, and I never aimed, so I didn't miss at all. It just never got shot. That's an annoying, like, the school motivational posters and whatnot. I was always annoyed by those as a kid. Especially this one art style where it's like the kids have, like, I don't know, huge heads. They look like Mr. Potato Heads. But, like, that's what their head is. I think it's similar to Cal Art's art style. If I would describe it. I don't know. But, oh, it was like you are a good student is, like, hands on the table, fingers interlocked, feet on the ground, smiling and quiet and whatnot. I was never annoyed by oh, you should sit still and be quiet, like, message, because I can see why the teachers would want that, because they gotta deal with, like, 1,000 students, and they hate almost all of them because the students are annoying. I was annoyed that they depicted the students as smiling. And it's like, I'm not enjoying this. Don't you depict, like, a representation of myself as smiling. No kid stands by the bus stop, like, grinning ear to ear, being like, oh boy, I get to learn about history today. Unless you enjoy history, but no one enjoys, like, waking up at 6:30 and then standing in the rain or in the snow, going, oh yeah, let's wait by the bus stop. Especially if the bus driver quit, and then they have a new one on the route, and they're not familiar with the route, So you stand in the rain for like 15 minutes because they kept going to every single stop, and then they finally get to yours, but you can't walk away like towards them, because what if they mistake you for just a passerby and not a student, and then you're like, you stood in the rain for 15 minutes for nothing. I don't. It's probably a sunk cost fallacy, actually, but yeah, that happened. It was annoying. I didn't like it. But I tell you this, I wasn't smiling as those artists seemed to want to depict me. I knew they knew no kid was smiling. The kids all knew no kid was smiling, but it's always keeping up the air of, yeah, no. It's not even like a, oh, maybe we shouldn't send the kids to school. It's just like a, you know no one does this happily, so stop lying about it kind of thing. Anyway, if you're still in education, chin up, sport. Alright, now I really am out of topics. I've gone on a few tangents. I've realized mid-show how many tangents more I need to go on, and I'm realizing now, as I said earlier, the loss of an hour in the upload, this is probably going to be late, because it's 9:54 as I'm saying this right now, and it's definitely not going to edit and upload in time to get out in 6 minutes, so sorry if it's late. It probably will be. No, it definitely will be. Anywho, thank you for watching, and goodbye.